All right, so today we're gonna basically make a breakfast smoothie. This is gonna be an all fruit smoothie and it won't have yogurt. I'm gonna do a yogurt smoothie in a later video. So I've got everything laid out in front of me and I wanna always start with the liquid. So with this fruit smoothie, I'm gonna be using 3 different liquids. I'm gonna be using a fruit juice. In this case, I'll be using orange juice. I'm also gonna use a milk, but I prefer almond milk. So I'll be using some almond milk and then finally a little water. Now, after the liquids go in, I'm then going to add my flaxseed. I try to add flaxseed to all of my smoothies just to get more flaxseed in there. So I'm gonna start by getting the blender ready. And we're gonna begin with the orange juice, give it a good shake. And I'm just kind of doing this by sight. I'm making smoothies for the family, so a little bit more than you might make if you're doing it for yourself. We're gonna use all that orange juice, that's about a cup or so. Then we're gonna get our almond milk ready. I just prefer the taste of almond milk and the consistency of it. So we're going to use about half of what we used with the orange juice. That's good. And then we're going to pour a little bit of water into there. Not too much because we don't want it overly watery. Perfect. I've got my flaxseed in a little container here. If you buy whole flaxseed, it's really easy to grind yourself in a blender, much like the one we're using for the smoothie. And you can just keep it in a ball jar in the fridge. I'm going to use a generous spoonful of flaxseed. Put that in there. And all of my fruit is frozen. Now you could use fresh bananas in this smoothie, but I had a lot of bananas on hand and they were starting to go bad, so I just froze all of them. And as long as you peel them and put them in the freezer, you are good to go. So I'm going to be using the equivalent of 2 bananas in this smoothie. So there's 1 banana, and there's the second. Now, I'm going to opt for strawberries and pineapples in this, and I'm going to be doing about half and half of each. So next to go in is the strawberries, and again, I'm just kind of doing this by sight. I know about how high on the blender I want this to go. So that's good on the strawberries. Oh, we've got 1 little straggler there, last one. And last but not least is the pineapple, which is going to add a lot of sweetness to this smoothie. And because of this, you don't have to do any added sugar. You don't have to add honey or any kind of agave to this. It's going to be good to go as it is, once we get our pineapple in there. Now, the thing to remember is as you're doing this, the consistency is what you're looking for. So if it starts to look a little too thick, you can always add more liquid. That's why I've reserved my water and my almond milk for that purpose. So I'm going to go ahead and blend this up. I have nearby this little stick plunger in case I really need to get this fruit going. So on to the blender, I make sure everything's secure because if this lid is not secure, you will have a mess. Hand on the lid, and I'm just going to turn the blender on and begin the process of slowly bumping up the speed until it gets up to a high speed. And then all the way to high. As that's going, I'm going to take this, open the top, and push down some of the fruit. So as that was going, I was waiting for that top layer, as the smoothie was working its way up, the top layer to go down into that center vortex. And that's how I knew that everything had been pretty well processed in the smoothie. So I'm going to give it 1 final stir here, especially to get out any air bubbles. Because if you take this lid off without doing that, you could get smoothie all in your face. I'm going to put this on our counter here. Remove the lid. And now I have a lot of smoothie, but again, I'm making a smoothie for 4 people. So I've got my glasses lined up over here if you want to see these. And what I'm going to do is just using a spoon, carefully pour the smoothie into the cups. Now this is a thicker consistency than you might expect from some smoothies, but it's a consistency that I like. You can always add more liquid if you want it a little thinner. And you are good to go with your morning smoothie.